Hi guys, as promised, here is our quiz review for the quiz we're going to have on Monday. So I'm going to do the odds and leave the evens for you guys. And if you have questions, just go back and try and see if this, hopefully this will help. And I've got the answer sheet added to the assignment so you can check and make sure you're doing it right. So solving. First thing I'm going to want to do here is distribute my 3. So I've got 29 minus 6b. Everything else is just going to come down. Equals 3 plus 21b minus 1. Then on the right side, I'm going to combine like terms so I don't confuse myself. 3 plus 20. Oops. I lost my b there. 21b. See, happens to the best of us. So that'll be, 3 and negative 1 combined to give you 2 plus 21b. So now I have to get my variables on the same side. It does not matter which side you move the variables to. I will just move them to the left because that's what I normally do. So I'm going to subtract 21b on both sides. Please make sure that you only do it once per side of the equal sign. Okay, so these cancel out. And I will get 29 minus 27b equals 2. So then I need to get the numbers on the other side. So I got to subtract 29 on both sides. So I will have negative 27b equals negative 27. To get the b all the way by itself, I will divide. So minus 27 minus 27. Why am I saying minus? Divided by. Hello. Sorry, it's Friday. I'm in my brain. All right, so b equals 1. Because any number divided by itself is 1. Cool. Linear functions. So this is asking for the slope, the x-intercept, and the y-intercept. So for my intercepts, that is where it touches the axis. So let's do the y-intercept is here. Notice that the axes are labeled x and y. So it touches at the point 0, 3. And part C, the x-intercept is at the point negative 3, 0. So my slope is going to be rise over run. So I went up 3 and over 3, which simplifies down to 1. If you can simplify those, totally do it. Other thing to remember, if your line is going up from left to right, then it is a positive slope. And if it's going down from left to right, like number 4, then it's going to be a negative slope. So just something to remember. Okay. Number 5. Write the equation for the slope-intercept form for this line. Well, in order to do that, because slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, I need m, which is my slope, and I need b, which is my y-intercept. So right here, b is negative 3, and my slope, if I find any other point that touches the corner of a box, up 1 and over 1, 2, 5. So my slope is 1 over 5. So my equation is going to be y equals 1/5 x minus 3. Okay. When it's given to you, when you don't have a graph and it's given to you in standard form, that is where you're going to solve for y. So I'm going to first subtract my x's and go over, send them over there to the right. Bring down my negative 4y, don't lose your negative. X plus 4, and then divide everything by negative 4. So my slope ends up being positive 5 over 4 because the negatives would cancel out. And 4 divided by negative 4 is going to be negative 1, so minus 1. Ta-da. Okay. Find the slope, y-intercept, and x-intercept of each. So with slope-intercept form, a and b are super easy because it's given to you. A, my slope is 3/2, because it's the number that's attached to x. Cool. Now that's only true in slope-intercept form. Some people on the homework were doing that for standard form, and that's just, no. It's only like that when it's y equals. Okay. For b, my y-intercept would be when I plug in 0 for x. So in this case, that would give me negative 6. So it's the point 0, negative 6. And then for c, for c, I will have to solve. So x-intercepts happen when you plug in 0 for y. So I'm going to plug in 0 and see what I get. So first I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Cool. And I'm going to divide by 3/2, which is the same as multiplying by 2/3 on both sides. If you suck at dealing fractions, you can totally use a scientific calculator. You could do 6 divided by 3/2, and it'll know to flip it and do everything. Just so you know. So that ends, these cancel, and that ends up being 4. So it is the point 4, 0. Okay, and then last but not least, oh, right, sorry. I'm finding the slope, the y-intercept, and the x-intercept. Now, for slope, there's 2 ways you can go about it. You can just solve it for, well, let's do the intercepts first for this. Okay. So let's pick over. So for part B, for the y-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for x and just make it go away. So I'm going to end up with 4y equals 24. So if I divide both sides by 4, I get y equals 6, so it's the point 0, 6. For part C, I'm going to plug in 0 for y. Make those disappear. So I get 3x equals 24. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 8. So it is the point 8, 0. Now for the slope, there's a couple things you can do. There is a formula that you could use. And if you've been taking notes, I mean, this is online. You can use your notes on the quiz online. Where standard form is ax plus by equals c. So your slope is negative a over b. That's just a formula. Or you could, if you're bad at remembering formulas, you can solve it for y. So 3x plus 4y equals 24. Subtract 3x on both sides. So 4y equals negative 3x plus 24. Divide everything by 4, and you get y equals negative 3/4 x plus 8. There you go, plus 6. Ugh. See, look, there's our y-intercept. So my slope, or m equals negative 3/4. Either way, you would have gotten the same thing. Okay. So function notation. This is just telling you to plug it in. Just make sure, like, if you were given both of these, make sure you match up the names of the functions before you plug them in. Okay. And especially when you're plugging in a negative, make sure that you put it in parentheses before you square it, and that you put whatever the number is every time there's an n or an x or whatever. So if I'm doing this, I would end up negative 10 squared would be positive 100. Negative 5 times negative 10 is 50. And I add those together to get 150. So that means that k of negative 10 equals 150. Number 15, this should say, ooh, oh, that was an accident. Okay. So when they're not giving you the number in the parentheses, they're setting it equal to, they've given you y, and you have to solve for x or n or whatever letter it is. So I'm gonna say that 3n minus 2 equals negative 5. Then I just solve it like a regular old equation. I feel confident that you guys can solve two-step equations. Add 2 to both sides and divide by 3 and make it n equals negative 1. Okay, this one. You're going to use this graph for both 17 and 18, by the way. So here, when it says find f of 3, it's talking about the x value. So you go where x is 3, and you got to see what y is. So in this case, y is negative 2. So f of 3 is negative 2. Then the last one, this time they did not give you the x, they gave you the y. So you go where y is positive 2 and come over and see what x is. So in this case, it's 5. So g of 5 equals 2. Yeah. And then that's everything. That's all the stuff that's going to be on the quiz. So. Okay.